Hello and welcome to another edition of the program, The Maize on ASO Television. I am Rosemary UKOKO-TEGA. The Maize is a summary of weekly proceedings at both chambers of the National Assembly. Glad you could join in today's program. Topping today's chat. Resumption of plenary sessions at both Senate and House after 2 months of annual recess. While resolution to monitor investigation into death of music artist Mohbad topped proceeding at the House, confirmation of Dr. Olayemi CARDOSO as Governor Central Bank of Nigeria topped agenda at the Red Chamber. For bit-by-bit proceedings of the first plenary at both Senate and House, stay with us on ASO Television, DSTV Channel 392, StarTimes TV Channel 127, Free TV Channel 507, UHF Band on Channel 38. You can check out all editions of The Maize on our YouTube channel, ASO Radio and Television.
We are a nation blessed with people of diverse cultures, religions, languages, and opinions. It is ironic that we are now being ripped apart by our greatest strength, our diversity. We have allowed intolerance, insensitivity, bigotry, and nepotism to blind our vision of the greatness we can achieve working together as one. We may not have the same culture, nor religion, nor language, but we all belong to the same nation by the divine will of God. We did not choose to be Nigerians. Nigeria chose us. This nation is our divine heritage, and if we open our eyes, we would realize that what divides us pales in comparison to what unites us. And by the comparison and conciliation of our differences, we will grow until our differences disappear. Our unity cannot be willed by mere declarations, nor do we get unity by ignoring the questions that beg for answers. We must celebrate our diversity and debate our differences without fracturing our unity. Our strength is not in our numbers, but in our unity, because even the weak become strong when united. Nigeria unite.
This message is brought to you by Abuja Broadcasting Corporation, owners and operators of ASO Radio 93.5 FM Abuja, ASO Television DSTV Channel 392, StarTimes Terrestrial Channel 127, Free TV Channel 507, People's TV Channel 285, and UHF Channel 38.
You're on to The Maize on ASO Television. Lawmakers at both chambers of the National Assembly resumed plenary sitting Tuesday this week after a 2-month-long recess. All lawmakers appeared ready for the new legislative year, with the presiding officers, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, and Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Tajuddin Abbas, urging for renewed dedication and focus. First, we take the proceeding on the floor of the Green Chamber. The day's sitting commenced with opening remarks of the Speaker, Mr. Tajuddin Abbas, welcoming his colleagues back from the annual recess. His address touched almost all sides of national interest. Prominent of this is appeal to the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, to shelve any planned strike. Speaker Abbas to the mic.
On account of these economic challenges, the organized labor under the aegis of Nigeria Labour Congress seems to have lost patience with the painstaking effort of the government to plan and provide sustainable minimum wage and palliatives to citizens. However, I would like to appeal to the Nigeria Labour Congress to consider the various actions being taken by the federal government to alleviate the current hardship faced by Nigerians. As promised earlier, this House remains committed to getting a survival wage to all Nigerian workers. The 10th House had assured Nigerians there would be interfacing between the organized labor and the government to quickly work out a realistic new national minimum wage, and as such, other palliatives to enable citizens cope with the economic impact of fuel subsidy removal. the downward fall of the naira to the dollar, skyrocketing costs of food, and general high cost of living in the country. It is in our considered opinion that embarking on a nationwide strike at this point will only aggravate an already bad situation. I therefore urge the leadership of labor unions to give us the benefit of doubt and suspend any planned strike action while we engage the executive.
And to other aspects of the Speaker's address covering expected presentation of the 2023 supplementary as well as the 2024 appropriation bills by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to the House in the coming days, even as he urged colleagues to rededicate themselves to legislative duties. Here.
While the executive arm of government is engaging the citizens and trying to work out strategies to tackle the hardship in the country, our legislative actions must therefore be directed by a clear, robust vision aimed at supporting the executive in restoring our citizens on the path of prosperity. We must deploy the necessary legislative instruments to create jobs, ensure payment of living wages in the civil service, pull Nigerians out of poverty, address the prevailing infrastructural deficit, rid the country of crippling insurgency, ensure the security of lives and property, and affordable functional education so that no child is left behind. Honorable colleagues, it has not been entirely woes and gloom for our nation, as we have been presented with opportunities and prospects to turn the tide around. Only recently, His Excellency President Ahmed Tinubu recorded a huge diplomatic and economic breakthrough with the United Arab Emirates, which will see the resumption of issuance of visa to Nigerians by the UAE and the return of Emirates Airlines to Nigerian skies. We equally recorded some major economic agreements in India, just as we had a productive outing at the recently concluded 78th General Assembly of the United Nations. In the coming days, the executive arm of government is expected to present a 2023 supplementary appropriation bill, as well as the 2024 appropriation bill to this honorable House. It is expected that the time to consider these bills will be short, but we must roll up our sleeves and get to work immediately and ensure the speedy consideration of these bills that will encapsulate the yearnings of the people, while we maintain the tradition established by the Ninth House in terms of speedy consideration of the appropriation bills. We must diligently consider the bills to ensure that they meet the needs of our constituents. We have to put extra work hours to ensure that the budget is passed in good time to enable its implementation from the first day of 2024. Our nation, and indeed the 10th House of the people, does not have the luxury of time in the face of profound national challenges. We must therefore do everything within our powers to champion causes towards addressing the yearnings of our people. On this score, our goals are clear. Our determinations are unrivaled. We must key into the legislative agenda of this House as a roadmap towards navigating our numerous challenges. Our bills, motions, resolutions, actions, and more should mirror the legislative agenda being a joint product between the House and the citizens. Government has been fully formed with the inauguration of ministers by Mr. President, while committees have been constituted in the two chambers of the National Assembly. We have no time to spare in delivering results to our people. Committees must actively engage MDAs to ensure optimal service delivery in accordance with legislations passed by the National Assembly. And in the discharge of our committee assignment and oversight, you must be guided by established legislative ethics and standing orders of the House. Finally, honorable colleagues, let us approach this new session with a renewed sense of purpose and dedication. Our nation looks for roles for leadership, and it is our duty to rise to the occasion. Together, let us work tirelessly towards building a better future for our people, guided by the principles of justice, equality, and progress. It is time to walk the talk.
Now, shortly after the Speaker's address was adoption of a motion of urgent national importance by the House on need for justice, safeguarding of the legacy of late Ilerioluwa Oladimeji Aloba aka Mohbad, and protecting the rights of young promising artists in contracts with their record labels. The motion standing in the name of Lagos State lawmaker Mr. Babajimi Benson. The lawmaker, in his motion, exposed a number of issues plaguing the Nigerian music industry and needing legislative intervention. A key resolution here is for the House to monitor ongoing investigation into Mohbad's death, with keen attention into allegations of harassment and unpaid royalties. The mover of the motion to the mic and how it went on the floor.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to crave the indulgence of the House to move a motion that affects 70% of the population of Nigeria, representing the youth demographics. The title of the motion, Mr. Speaker, is the need for justice and safeguarding the legacy of the late Ilerioluwa Oladimeji Aloba, aka Mohbad, who passed away under very questionable circumstances in Lagos. I crave the indulgence of this House to kindly approve, under Order 8 Rule 4, that the rules be suspended and that this matter be treated as urgent. I so request, Right Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
The High Chief.
Music industry mourns the loss of the talented artist, popularly known as Mohbad, who tragically passed away under mysterious circumstances on Saturday, 2023, and has continued to make headlines and dominate discussions across and beyond the nation. The House also notes that the heartfelt protest, a procession of youth chanting his name, and the call for an investigation as they marched to a tribute concert with numerous musicians in attendance. It is evident that Mohbad's fans are struggling to come to terms with his ultimate demise. Mohbad, also known as Imole, meaning light in Yoruba, was an artist who sang of peace and light. The House further notes that Mohbad left his record label, Malian Records, owned by Naira Marley in 2022, citing various grievances, including unpaid royalties. This issue is indicative of a broader problem in which artists encounter challenges and asserting their rights. The House is also aware that a disturbing industry practice has come to the fore. Evidence of mistreatment highlights the struggles of young artists who, in their quest for success, become entangled in parasitic contracts and face bullying when they seek to exit these contracts. The House is also concerned that Mohbad's case is not an isolated incident. Many artists throughout the length and breadth of Nigeria find themselves ensnared in unfavorable contractual agreements, limiting their creative freedom and financial growth. This situation can lead to disputes and at times even violence. The House is cognizant that the Nigerian music industry lacks substantial institutional funding, pushing many artists into unscrupulous contracts with record labels. Addressing this issue is vital for the industry's growth and sustainability. The House is also cognizant that the Nigerian Copyright Commission functions encompass copyright registration, law enforcement, education, royalty management, international collaboration, legal advocacy, policy development. Hence, they should be protecting copyright and promoting artists' interests in Nigeria. The House is further disturbed that most of the proceeds of the late artist are still going to the Malian Music Group, and there have been no moves from any agency to protect the estate of the late singer, who is currently the 46th best-selling digital artist in the world. Accordingly, and the prayers are, sir, urges the House to observe 1 minute silence, 2, monitor the ongoing investigation of Mohbad's death, particularly the allegations of harassment and unpaid royalties. Collaborate with stakeholders, including record labels, artists, legal experts, and industry associations to develop and implement industry-wide guidelines that ensure fair treatment, transparent contractual agreements, and proper compensation for artists. Reviewing existing copyright and contract laws in Nigeria. Identifying gaps or areas in need of reform. Finally, mandate the Committee on Justice, Youth Development, and Legal Compliance to ensure compliance. I so move. Right Honorable Speaker.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. I don't think because of the nature of the motion, it is self-explanatory. I think we don't need to actually debate on it, but we can go ahead and oblige to one of the prayers of the motion, which is to observe a minute silence. So may you all rise for a minute silence, please.
Well, it's glaring how the demise of the young music artist, popularly known as Mohbad, continued to generate inquisitions, especially following emerging revelations on circumstances leading to his death. May he continue to rest in peace. We go to some other motions still on the floor of the House. Same lawmaker who moved the urgent motion seeking justice for late Mohbad, Mr. Babajimi Benson, sponsored another motion on need to investigate rising cases of unethical and exploitative practices in egg procurement and surrogacy by fertility hospitals and clinics across the country. The lawmaker raised certain concerns on practice of the assisted reproductive health ART in the country, which his colleagues agreed with and the House adopted. Here is part of the motion as presented by the lawmaker.
The House is worried that women undergo surgical egg retrieval, relinquishing control over the eggs obtained between 100,000 naira to 150,000 naira per retrieval, with 5 to 6 eggs extracted per month. The House is also worried about the widespread practice of terming this process as donation, while in reality, desperate women of childbearing age are coerced through target marketing to sell their eggs with potentially adverse effects on their future reproductive health and overall well-being.
For information's sake, and according to the lawmaker's motion, ART procedure entails surgical extraction of eggs from a woman's ovaries, fusion with sperm in laboratory settings, and subsequent reintegration into the donor's body or transfer to a woman or storage in an egg bank. This could also be referred to as surrogacy, as practiced by fertility hospitals in Nigeria and other parts of the world. A motion urging the Federal Ministry of Power and Transmission Company of Nigeria (TCN) to urgently provide the required funds for completion of the Okpai-Kwale transmission line project in the Ndukwa-Nkwani Federal Constituency of Delta State by Mr. Nnamdi Ezechi was adopted by the House. This is as the House also resolved through a motion by a Rivers State lawmaker, Mr. Awaji Inobenk Abiante, to investigate low implementation level of the Coastal and Inland Shipping Cabotage Act 2003, leading to the loss of $100 billion annually. Before we go to resumption proceedings at the Senate, we bring you in with some other top activities at the House. These include declaration of 2 vacant seats by the Speaker following formal resignation letters presented by former members Mr. Tanko Sonuno, who now holds the position of Minister of State for Education, and Mr. Olubunmi Tunji Ojo, who is now Minister of Interior. The Speaker consequently directed the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to organize by-elections for the respective constituencies in Kebbi and Ondo states. Well, this declaration brings to 4 total number of vacant seats in the House. Now, from the floor of the Senate, lawmakers soon reverted to a long closed-door session upon resumption of plenary. However, President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, rising from the session, urged his colleagues to focus on the greater good of the nation and, quote, on the pursuit of the nation's common good, interests of constituents, and protection of the country's democracy. The Senate afterwards screened and confirmed appointment of Dr. Yemi CARDOSO as governor and 4 others as deputy governors of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. Let's play you a little of that session where all nominees, alongside presenting their individual resume, tried to identify challenges to be addressed in the Apex Bank. Here.
I stand to move that the Senate do resolve into the Committee of All to conduct the confirmation hearings. I so move, Mr. President.
The Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to second the motion that the Senate do resolve to Committee of the Whole to continue the confirmation hearing. I so second, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, a motion has been moved and seconded that this Senate do resolve into Committee of the Whole to conduct the nominations exercise. Those who are in support of the motion say aye. Those who are against the motion say nay. The ayes have it. We now resolve into Committee of the Whole. Let me, on behalf of distinguished senators, welcome the proposed governor of Central Bank, the 4 deputies to this confirmation, screening, and hearing. We'll start by taking the Central Bank proposed governor alone. So you will come in, you will introduce yourself, and let us know you. You will go a little bit into a summarized version of your resume, and thereafter you take questions from our distinguished senators. So I invite Olayemi CARDOSO to take the stage.
My sincere appreciation goes to the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The gravity of this moment is not in any way lost on me. I do not take lightly the confidence that has been reposed in me by the President through this nomination. Let me respectfully introduce myself. My name is Olayemi CARDOSO. I was born 10th of July 1957. I'm an indigene of Lagos State. I'm born to parents of Brazilian descent in Popo Aguda. I attended primary school at Corona School, Ikoyi, and I went on to do my secondary school at St. Gregory's College, Lagos. I then went on for further studies to Birmingham. I attended the University of Aston, where I graduated with a bachelor's degree in managerial and administrative studies, specializing in finance and accounting. My further education was at the Harvard Kennedy School, where I earned a master's degree in public administration, and I specialized in finance and economics. I also am a holder of a doctorate degree in business administration, honoris causa, from my alma mater, Aston University. My professional career began in the vibrant city of London, working with Howard Tilly and Co. Chartered Accountants. Little did I know that this would be the first step in a lifelong journey that would take me to places I could only dream of. If you look at my resume, you'll see I did various diversified experiences. May I please now say a few words of what I consider to be a preliminary assessment of the challenges facing the Central Bank of Nigeria as we hopefully commence the process of giving our input into this very, very important entity. The President, in his inaugural address, conveyed the need to clean up the CBN and its monetary policies. As a first step in this task, the President appointed a special investigator in the affairs of CBN, whose work is currently underway. Permit me, Mr. President, to use these preliminary remarks to outline the challenges facing the Central Bank, introduce high-level proposals to address reformation challenges, and discuss the roles of a refocused Central Bank in supporting the economic agenda of the President Tinubu administration. One, we identify the issue of corporate governance and how will issues of corporate governance be addressed. We also identify the diminished institutional autonomy. How can public and financial system stakeholders' confidence be restored in the autonomy and integrity of CBN? Can the Central Bank look to adopting a worldwide code for institutional autonomy? We also look at the need to refocus CBN back to its core functions. What needs to be in place to revert to evidence-based monetary policies? Discontinuation of unorthodox monetary policies and foreign currency management. Unorthodox use of ways and means spending. What controls can CBN develop to enforce statutory limits in ways and means? Of course, backlog of foreign exchange demand and how this can be met, and the lack of clarity in fiscal and monetary relationships. Where are the delineations and what should be the limits in CBN's fiscal interventions? Of course, very importantly, the issue of inflation and price stability, a major function of the central bank. What are the causes and what is CBN's proposed response to address inflation and price stability issues? We're also interested in access to foreign exchange markets and foreign exchange price discovery. What mechanisms exist to address foreign exchange rate unification under a willing buyer and seller arrangement?
I am a seasoned banker with 2 decades of banking experience, cut across various aspects of banking. I started my banking experience from a very humble beginnings, working as a customer service officer and growing into the ranks up to executive director in August 2022 with the United Bank for Africa. We are very much aware of happenings in the economy, and I want to assure every one of you today that I work with a new team under the able leadership of Mr. Yemi CARDOSO to ensure that we change the narrative in the Central Bank of Nigeria and the economy as a whole. Thank you.
My diverse experience in development policy, banking, public finance, and project implementation have equipped me with the necessary skills and insights to contribute effectively as the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank, if confirmed. I firmly believe that with the dedicated leadership, the unwavering support of the National Assembly, strategic planning, and the resilience of our people, that we can overcome the economic challenges we face as a nation and achieve robust growth and stability. Once again, I thank you, Your Excellency, and distinguished senators for considering my nomination and humbly seek your support and valuable guidance as we embark on this important journey. Thank you for your time and consideration.
I'm humbled by the nomination by the President to serve with a thoroughbred professional like Mr. Yemi CARDOSO and a very good team. And with the support of this most distinguished Senate, we hope to be able to face the task ahead, which is not an easy task in any way. Thank you very much.
Given the position of the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank, if confirmed, I assure you that whatever experience I've gathered over the years, backed by a lot of brain power from some of the best gurus in the world, we are going to turn around the fortune of this bank with your support. I'm a very, very strong believer in teamwork and collaboration, and I also believe that together under the tutelage of the finance guru, Mr. Yemi CARDOSO, we will not disappoint Nigerians if approved by this hallowed chamber. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Distinguished colleagues, having concluded the screening exercise, I want to put a question. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Mr. Olayemi CARDOSO for appointment as Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria? Those in favor say aye. Aye. And those against say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Madam Musora for appointment as Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Muhammad Abdullahi Datijo for appointment as Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria? Those in favor say aye. Aye. And those against say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Philip Ikazo for appointment as Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Bala Bello for appointment as Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senate Leader.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, very distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I stand to move that the Senate reverts back to plenary to enable the chairman report progress. I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. President, sitting as chair, distinguished senators. I rise to second the motion moved by leader of the Senate that the Senate reverse back to plenary to report progress. I so second, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that this Senate do revert to plenary to report progress. Those in support of the motion say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So we revert to the plenary to report progress. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the request of Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief for the confirmation of nominees for appointment as Governor and Deputy Governors of the Central Bank of Nigeria. The nominees answered questions from distinguished senators on CBN matters and other matters and a number of topical issues. Thereafter, the committee approved the nominations of Olayemi CARDOSO for the position of Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Madam Musora, Mohammed Abdullahi Datijo, Philip Ikazo, and Bala Bello as Deputy Governors, as Governor and Deputy Governors of Central Bank, respectively. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Now, will the Senate confirm the nomination of Olayemi CARDOSO for appointment as Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Olayemi CARDOSO is hereby confirmed as Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Madam Eme Musoro for appointment as Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria? Those in favor say aye. Aye. And those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Madam Eme Musoro is hereby confirmed as Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Mohammed Abdullahi Datijo for appointment as Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria? Those in favor say aye. Aye. And those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Mohammed Abdullahi Datijo is hereby confirmed as Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Will the Senate confirm the appointment of Philip Ikazo for appointment as Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria? Those in favor say aye. Aye. And those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Philip Ikazo is hereby confirmed as Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Bala Bello for appointment as Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Bala Bello is hereby confirmed as Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Wow, some tight resumes, I may say. We hope all translate to performance on the seats as governor and deputy governors of the country's apex bank. And that's it on the program today. Thanks for your time. Let's do it again Friday next week at 8 p.m. Till then, remember you can watch all editions of The Maze on our YouTube channel, ASO Radio and Television. I am Rosemary UKOKO-TEGA.